Hey everybody, welcome back. This is day 3. So today we're going to start by loading all of the components into the rack, and we're going to start to neaten everything up. So what that means is we're going to start making some network connections. We're going to load all of the gear into the rack, and we're going to start labeling things. So we're going to take everything out of the rack. We're going to make it nice and neat. We're going to lay it out. We're going to get a good plan of attack as to how we want to install it. And then we're going to get going. We're going to put everything in the rack. We're going to punch it down, and hopefully that'll take us to the end of the day today. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to start to clean up this mess. So this is all the cables that we pulled from yesterday, and we're going to just neaten them up and get everything ready. So I've got a pile of boxes that are right here. So this is all of the things that need to go into the rack. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start unboxing them. I'm going to lay everything out. So I want to get all of my tools and all of the components that I need, and I'm just going to lay it out just to make sure that if there's anything else I need to get, I get it now before we start installation. So, okay, here we go. Okay, so we've got all of our components unboxed. Let's see what we've got here. This is our 24-port patch bay. This is our 24-port network switch. We've got our PDU, and we've got our rack shelf. So the PDU is a triplet unit that I like to install all the time. This is called an RS1215. It's got 6 outlets on the back and 6 outlets on the front. And one of the reasons why I like this so much is you can keep all of the rack components wired in the back, and then if you need to bring your laptop or bring any piece of equipment down to work on the system, you can, because you have courtesy outlets. So what we'll be doing today is, since we're making so many network connections, that hairdryer looking piece of equipment over there is a heat gun, which is basically just like a hairdryer on steroids. So that's going to shrink down all of our labels. So I think one of the first things that I'm going to do is get the PDU installed so that we have power in the rack, because right now I've got 2 power strips together in there, which you can't even see, just to get power because some of the connections are really big. So eventually this is there's a black panel that goes on the side here, and there's going to be we're going to just run the power right out of the top there. So let's get started with that, and then once we get the power mounted, we can start terminating the patch panel. Here we go. Okay, so at this point, we've got our power strip mounted, and we have our patch panel mounted. So I have the patch panel mounted in reverse. So this is the back here. So I'm gonna terminate this all in reverse because it's easier to work on. So all I did was just flip it so that the RJ45 jacks are on the front. I relocated all the things out of the box so I didn't take internet out to the rest of the house while I'm working on this. So there's the router and the modem are just on top of the rack. And then here's all of our mess of cable that's down there. So as you can see, we pulled a lot of extra cable, but that's okay. That's going to help us. That's going to help us with all of this. So what we're going to do now is we're going to terminate these using the B standard, which is the more common of the two, the A and the B. We're going to use the B. We're also going to label the rear of the network cables with a heat shrink label, so that if and when we turn this over, we'll know not only what the corresponding jack number is, but also what room it will go to. So if there's ever a maintenance thing, we'll know where everything's going. So here we go. All right, everybody, we're finished running cable. So at this point, we're just going to recap the video and what we've done here. So this is the rack as it's currently patched. You can see right here, we've got our modem, our router. This is our Philips Hue Light controller, our network switch, and our patch panel. So the way that the signal works for this is our internet signal comes in through our modem. The output of the modem goes straight to our router. One of the LAN ports, the local area network ports, feeds our switch. So you can see here, this says switch 1. So the way that these cables are labeled is the text on here says what the cable is doing and where it's plugged in at. So this is switch 1. So this means this is plugged into switch 2. This is switch 2. So on the other end of this cable, it says router. So when so if anything comes unplugged, this one says modem, we know where they all go. So going back here, since this is our switch, this is what's feeding the switch. We're in port 1 right here. So the components that we have going on here are our Philips Hue lights, which is receiving network from the switch. And then each one of these are the ports in the wall that are currently patched. So this one says this is master bedroom 1, master bedroom 2, and then going in here we've got living room 1 and living room 2. So the rest of these jacks that are unterminated here, up to port 12, are all the cables that we've run. So once I terminate those in the wall, we'll make the patch here. I'm just leaving them unterminated at the moment, just as a little bit of quality control, just so we know where we're at in the project. Let me back up a little bit so you guys can see this. So we've got our side panel mounted. I ended up taking the PDU, power and then just running it along this coax cable that's coming down here. So just as a little bit of style points, we've got our custom label that says network rack power. And then here's our network rack all loaded up. And then here's our bundle of cable that goes around. So this is all run now. So I ended up running this inside, in between these two pieces right here. This is my cold air return from upstairs, so I need to put the sheet metal piece back on there, but I'm waiting to clean up everything until we're actually done. So here's the final cable run. I feel like we've walked this way about 1,000,000 times, but here it is all nice and neat. So in the next video, we're gonna terminate all the cables, but as they are right now, here's how they're run. I've started to run the analog snake. But I think I'm gonna actually change that a little bit, so it's just kind of, the slack isn't quite right. And I just want to make sure that before we, you can see it's all just kind of all over the place now, but the cables are done. All the time lapses that you've seen so far are just showing all of this run. There's this little bit of gap here where you can see the analog snake in the foreground and then the network bundle in the background. I want that to match. My OCD is killing me, but yeah, here we go. There's all the cable runs. So thanks for stopping by, everybody. Next time and on the next video, we'll terminate them at the walls.